So my name's Anthony Myint. I'm the co-founder of Mission Chinese Food and Commonwealth, and I'm working on a new restaurant called The Perennial. It should be open in a month or two, and it has a focus on basically environmentalism and progressive agriculture. So if you've ever been to Mission Chinese Food, it's kind of like a dive bar. Basically, it's really red. There's a Chinese New Year's dragon. It's kind of like a party scene. And so I was a little surprised at first when I was invited to the panel, and then it became about instigation. But so today I'm putting on my instigator hat and talking about some issues that I think we're going to try to tackle in kind of a restaurant setting at the Perennial. So my first question is, can our food evolve fast enough? So I probably don't need to tell anybody, but climate change is real, and it's probably like the defining issue of our generation and stuff. If you look at this graph, it's basically pretty simple. Things that are not related to food, 50% of climate change. Things that are related to food, including deforestation, the other 50%. So that's a lot. So then, I guess here's a question. What changes are needed for agriculture to adjust to the reality of climate change? So I feel like agriculture has been around for 10,000 years, and as a whole civilization, we've maybe embraced or understood climate change for 10 years or 20 years. So the other question here is, where's all that root mass if it's not in the ground? And so 1,000 years ago, someone invented the plow, and it's really allowed civilization to flourish. But what has happened is that it's also kind of undermined soil biology and released all the carbon that has been in the ground into the atmosphere, which is causing a lot of problems now. And in part, that's why the restaurant's named The Perennial, because I think perennial agriculture and kind of changing our general orientation of agriculture from something annual to something perennial is really important. So another kind of similar thing is, there's a lot of systems in place that evolved out of, economics and just trying to get maximum yield or different things. One question is like, there's a fish farm, and why is that fish farm creating toxic runoff when not very far away there's someone's growing soybeans or something, and then they're also using fossil fuels to create fertilizer to fertilize the soybeans. Why not just use the system in nature? And so like one thing that we'll be doing at the restaurant is aquaponics, which is where bacteria convert the fish waste into like organic fertilizer for food. So this is maybe more along the lines of instigation. Could progressive agriculture be the 21st century abolitionist movement? I feel like, slavery and the end of slavery and stuff maybe was a major change, obviously, but, it also was a major economic opportunity. And so I think, as we shift towards ending kind of a reliance on fossil fuel, I think we need to view that as an opportunity instead of an inconvenience. So then, the question is, what can a city slicker do about the broken food system? And I just did a Google search of the phrase "eating is an agricultural act," and there's like a million images of it. I really like this one on the top right of the woman like cradling the vegetables to her bosom. But I think basically, if you've ever tried to grow anything like in your backyard, you try to grow a pint of cherry tomatoes, it's freaking hard. Like it takes the whole season, you get one pint. But as people in the city, we're pretty disconnected from that whole process. I'll like eat a whole cherry tomato or like a burger or something without even thinking about it. And so, I guess basically just reorienting ourselves to the idea that eating is an agricultural act. And so I guess the question to close on is basically, would you eat environmentally if it made a difference?